We're going to go see something really exciting. So you need to put your things away, and we're going to go over to the gym. Okay, let's walk.
Okay, boys and girls, today we're going to have a very unusual experience. This man named Bob Markworth has visited 58 countries and been on most television shows. He is an American archery champion. So let's give a Highland welcome to Bob Markworth and Mayana.
Let me tell you something about the origin of the bow. Every major civilization used a bow and arrow. Threw another one and fired. Threw another one and fired. And so indeed he did defend himself against his fellow man, who from the very beginning had a warlike nature. Now, boys and girls, that's about enough of a history lesson for you today. How would you like to see some more fancy trick shooting?
Yeah!
Now, boys and girls, for this next and last shot, I want to ask all of you here to be very, very quiet because this is very difficult. I'm going to be completely blindfolded and unable to see my target. Right now, Mayana's going to come around and give you a chance to examine this blindfold. I'd like you to hold it up to your eyes. Make sure you cannot see through it. Just hold it up to your eyes if you would. All righty? Thank you very, very much. And now Mayana will place this very same blindfold over my eyes. And to make doubly sure that I cannot see, she will also put over my head this black hood. Once again, I must ask you all to be very quiet for this shot. This is very difficult, and I cannot do this shot without listening to the sound of Mayana's voice. So please, if you would, let me have 2 minutes of absolute silence. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Bob?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Boys and girls, we got 2 more shows, and we got to run to the next school because the kids are waiting for us. I just want to say one thing. You guys have been a great audience. Thank you very, very much, and God bless you all.
Nancy Loon and I are doing a school assembly tour where we do lots of fancy trick shots for the kids and then teach them about the sport of archery. This tour is taking us all over New Mexico. We start up here in Farmington, zip around, go all the way over to Springer. From Springer, we drop way on down to the Mescalero Indian Reservation, through Roswell, in this area, Lovington, Hobbs, up to Clovis. Then we finish up going back through Albuquerque and on our way back to Las Vegas, where we started from.
We're doing a school assembly tour, and Bob Markworth shoots arrows all around me. We don't do any big cities. We're usually on the outskirts of a big town if we're lucky. A lot of these schools are in really small towns because that's where archery is really big, in these small towns and Indian reservations. They don't have too much going on in these small towns, so they're more enthusiastic about bringing performers out here.
Now, my mother and father were in show business. They were in vaudeville. My mother was a violin player and a dancer and a singer. My father was a singer, an actor, and they met in a show, a vaudevillian show. Then I was born, and I was an accident. They hadn't planned a family because they were traveling and they didn't want a family. But because my mother got pregnant, and she had me. They gave up show business per se. They stopped traveling.
Well, my first job I ever wanted when I was about 5, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then when I started doing gymnastics, I started dreaming about someday being in the Olympics. But, you know, your parents really have to be involved. They've got to push you. And I was taken out of gymnastics, so.
When I took up archery, I didn't take it up to be in show business. I took it up because I like to hunt. And I used to hunt with a rifle. My father would take me hunting with him when I was only 9 years old. And I was very, very accurate. I was a good shot with a rifle. And I'd shoot rabbits 200 yards away. And I got to thinking, this is so easy for me. There's no sport, real sport for me. So I want to take up bow hunting, take up archery so I can hunt with a bow and arrow and give me a bigger challenge. So I did that when I was 13 years old. Within 6 months, I was California Junior State Champion. And a year and a half later, I was California Men's State Champion at the age of 15.
And then I heard about the circus school when I was 19, and I started training there immediately in contortion. I wanted to do something cool, kind of different. I wanted to work on my back flexibility. And within a year, I was performing and leaving town and getting flown to different places. And I didn't have much experience, but I got my experience performing.
And then I decided that I loved archery so much, and I loved hunting so much, that I would somehow make a living out of shooting a bow and arrow. So I figured, how can I make a living? I'll start an act. I'll go into show business. Because there's no language barrier to my act, I've been able to perform all over the world in 58 different countries, in venues, mainly nightclubs, theaters, television, and some sports shows. I performed in Baghdad, Iraq, performed in Iran in 1970, in Beirut when it was considered the Paris of the Middle East. And I've literally performed for millions of people all over the world. You know, when you first start in show business, you kind of exaggerate. And if you've been in show business a year and a half, you say 3 years. And if you've been in show business for 5 years, you say 8 or 10. But when you've been in it 47 years, you start to say, over 30 years.
Bob and I met through a mutual photographer friend. He shoots for Playboy and Penthouse, and he did some pictures of me doing some contortion, but I don't think they're really ready for that. And, you know, it's fine. I think I'm better off working with Bob than doing a whole lot of magazines and stuff.
And then I had to do a tour, and my blonde wasn't available. So Ken said, hey, I got another girl for you that might work out. She's an Asian contortionist. And he arranged a meeting for us, and we got on fabulously, and she worked well on the show.
The first time I worked with Bob was at a nightclub in Sydney, Australia. For that nightclub act, it was more of a combination of both of our talents, his archery and my contortion. I had to hold each pose for a long time and stay still for Bob to complete each trick. So for instance, we have the silver ball on the string. Bob would hang that string off one of my toes while I'm in an acrobatic position. Then he would actually cut that string with his arrow. It's really hard to see that string.
Obviously, you want an attractive girl in the show. That always adds to the success of any act. But I always have a good-looking girl working with me. probably the most important thing is to get somebody that trusts you and you trust them. Now, I'm shooting arrows toward a girl, and she has to trust me. And of course, the girls that work with me, they all trust me because I don't miss, but that's beside the point. You could still not miss and not be trusted. So you have to build confidence. And then I have to have confidence in the girl, that she's gonna have a clear head and she's gonna be concentrating on what she's supposed to do in the show. So once this double trust is built up, it's the perfect professional theatrical marriage.
It's really mellow. I'm not in a real sexy costume. I'm just up there assisting him. It's all about Bob in the show, you know. And I think it's kind of nice, you know, because people are surprised when they find out that I do something other than just stand there. You know, it's kind of, I think that's cool.
Nancy seems to really enjoy the traveling, and then she's really easy to get along with. She's good-natured. She's not a prima donna. She's not demanding in any way. We just have a good time together. We have a purely platonic relationship and a business relationship, but it's also a spiritual relationship where she's trusting me and I'm trusting her. And in essence, she's trusting her life to me.
Voila, this is it. This is our travel time machine, whatever. Bob seat, co-pilot seat. There is no air conditioner or heater, and early in the mornings it is so cold. There is no radio. I guess hypothetically it would be here. And also our windows don't work. Just as these little ones work, where Bob usually fumbles around for his glasses. Our new compass we got from Walmart. Our walkie-talkies that we haven't figured out yet for when we're caravanning. Bob's costume rack, and I had him buy a garment bag, and I had to put everything in the garment bag because the clothes used to come all the way out to here. They'd swing around and get dirty.
Maybe the starter just stuck. In fact, that's why I've kept this old van. It's been so reliable. And it's just an old workhorse, you know. It's a 6-cylinder Ford van, and an 87, but it's never given me any problems. And it's got the capacity that I need for all my props and so forth. And I keep it mechanically well. I mean, it looks pretty beat up because it's been around a lot, and so have I. Maybe I look beat up too. But hopefully we'll get this fixed today. Otherwise I'll miss a show, you know. That's a long drive too.
I've learned a lot about archery through Bob, first of all. I've learned about traveling on the road. Because I haven't really done a tour other than a big organized tour before.
The one love of my life is actually shooting a bow and arrow. I mean, I'm in love with my bow. And I feel like the Pied Piper when I go on these school tours, because even though they're hard tours, put on miles and miles of distance, the nice part of it is that you're bringing live entertainment to kids that would never see a live show, because they live out in the boondocks, and the only time they see entertainment is on television. And all of a sudden they've got a live act, and they love it.
What time's the show?
We have exactly 2 hours. We're going to be a little late, but that's okay.
And a name like Bob, you know, it's so common. It's kind of generic, you know, Bob. You know, how many Like Nancy, people say Nance or Nan or Fancy Nancy, but Bob. Well, it rhymes with Bob other than Blob. So I call him Blob, and he likes it.
Yes, Blob.
Yeah, Blob.
Bob the Blob.
Bob
What'd
the
they
Blob.
say?
We were on the right track. It just was further down, quite a bit further down. Boys and girls, we got to run now. I want to say thank you very much. You've been a super audience, and God bless you all. Now, you can be whatever you want to be in life if you put your mind to it and really, really try and really work at it. Yeah. Nice.
Do you guys get paid for doing this?
Yeah.
How much?
Not much.
Not much?
Yeah.
It works if you get it.
We just like to show you guys the archery.
Where are you guys headed next?
We're going to Roswell next.
Okay, thank Roswell? You. Yeah.
You want to come with us?
Yeah.
That's it. America is so beautiful. There's so much to see, such a diverse type of terrain. And few people have the opportunity to see it all because they never leave their hometowns or their big cities. But being on the road, you have that opportunity, and that's one of the major rewards. I enjoy being on the road, but then I get tired of it. And if I had my druthers, I'd like to sign a contract and spend 2 straight years in a casino in Las Vegas.
Who are you?
But the main draw to be on the road is to continue to work. See, if I was a singer or a comic, I could change my repertoire. But I'm a novelty act. I got the same act, and if I want to keep working, I got to keep moving like a rolling stone, you know? And that's one of the reasons that I am on the road all the time, is just to keep working. And the point is that I love working so much that I talk myself into believing that I really love being on the road. It's almost a form of self-hypnosis. Okay, Albuquerque's that way, Santa Fe straight ahead. Hey, how about that? I find that by going on the road, you have to deal with so many different types of people. So you learn to handle all these different situations that arise. And that's how you have the edge. The edge is that when you go back to your normal life, anything that creeps up, you know how to handle it. You've already been there, done that.
Do you have commercial rates? We're doing some shows for the schools tomorrow.
No, the only way it's for 2 people. It's $35.99 plus tax would be $40.09. Okay.
You're pre-programmed to just handle the situation. That's one of the things the road does for you. It makes you sharp.
Here it is.
How many shows tomorrow?
I've got 2 shows. One in the Apache Indian Reservation, and one of them in another town.
Yeah, this traveling is terrible for what I do. Every time I come back, even if it's a week at a time with Bob, I gain weight, you know. I lose my muscle tone, my back knots up. It's just bad, you know. But that's the hard part of this job, and I knew what I was going to be getting into. It's not a hard job as far as the performing goes. That's the easy part, you know. Setting up, you know, we're already used to what we have to do with that, and it's not hard. It's just kind of a drag every morning, having to get up and check out every single day, checking in a new place every day, not knowing where we're gonna be. At least I'm making money, not much, but I could count on it. I'm getting $5.50 a week, which isn't much. It's $110 a day. Bob gets the rest because he drives, he pays for the gas, he pays for the motels, but he's in charge of this whole thing. He's my boss. All these motels are kind of set up the same, and some places are really ghetto though. We don't have much choice, and the walls are like brick, just painted over. The pipes are old, and it seems like 8 times out of 10, you could hear the trains go by from the room. So you're sleeping, you hear choo-choo really loud, brrr, forever. It sucks, but I like it. I like performing, and I mean it's easy. It's an easy show for me. People always ask if I'm afraid. I'm not afraid. The performing part's really easy. It's all the time in between, before and after. That's rough. But what are you gonna do? You just gotta do it and do the best that you can do.
$5.50. You go first, kid. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, kiddo?
Fine. Don't shake the bed.
Well, on time, but that's early, isn't it?
What are y'all?
It's an archery program, and I shoot arrows at a pretty lady. And the kids really get excited and they like it. And of course I tell the history of archery from the caveman through the cultures right up to modern day times. And then I do an anti-drug thing at the end, you know.
Really?
So the kids really enjoy it, especially the grade school age, you know.
Enjoy your stay here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She engaged me in conversation. I got the cutest little old Southern Belle that's in the office, and they don't know a thing about the assembly. It's been a, cross wire here somewhere, but we're working it out.
Okay.
And if I'm spending a lot of time, I have to apologize, but she sure is cute.
Okay. Half the time the schools forget about us, and Bob has to show them our schedule and call up the Board of School Assemblies. And they go, oh, okay. And then they just work us in our schedule.
At this point, I talked to my people,
Uh-huh.
and my people said if we can't get a contract of some type that we had, then there's no way we can do it. Because on your piece of paper, can I look at that one more time?
Sure.
It seems like there was a lady that was here maybe 2 years ago that might have scheduled that. And at that point, yeah, Mrs. Elliott probably did that. And that would have been 2 years ago. And I'm sorry that we didn't get a confirmation or something of that type.
Tell you what I'll do. I'm here.
Yes, sir.
And because you're from Texas originally, I'll do the show. And consider it, if you guys don't work out the logistics with the office and if they don't come up with a contract, that it was a free show. And if they do discover a contract, you can send them the check. How's that sound?
I'm assuming that the contract is probably going to be through Miss Elliott, and that would have been booked like 2 years ago.
I doubt that, because I signed my contract a year ago. And they didn't even know I was available, because I'm usually performing in nightclubs and theaters and TV.
Okay.
And I do this as my penance. No, I don't mean that. I enjoy these school tours, but they are hard, and I can't handle them more than once every 3 years.
Okay.
So I signed my contract a year ago, which would put it in a time frame that, whatever you want to do, it's fine with me because I get paid anyway.
Okay.
See, nothing's going to happen to me. But you guys have been so nice and everything. I'm here. I'm prepared to do a show, even if it's a free show for you guys. But then whatever you want to do.
I'm going to say we probably don't want to do it because we don't have record of it, and I don't have my supervisor here.
Okay.
And my other supervisor said if we need a contract for that.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Well,
but I
that's fine.
appreciate your hospitality
Well, I
and your
just met
willingness
two beautiful
to.
young ladies and had a wonderful time.
Thank you very much. It was nice to meet you. I'll watch for you.
Nice
on-
meeting you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right. Watch for me on TV.
What's happening?
No show, but we get paid. Don't worry.
Good.
We're okay. We're going to the next school that we're doing, which is here in Lovington. This is it. It should be a school.
At Norris, right?
Norris.
We're usually late because Bob underestimates the time it takes to get someplace. And then when we're running short on time, usually Bob just pulls into the town we're supposed to be in, and he just asks for directions. So that takes some time.
Going back to my little grass shack in Hawaii. You know what? I'm gonna pull
Off
into
East 21st Street and Norris.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask this gas station. Make sure
directions to find the town. So sometimes we stopped 5 times for one school.
Yes, I've asked 2 different people how to get to a school, and they both gave me 2 different directions, and they were both wrong.
Okay, go down 21st here to Main.
This is 21st.
Yeah, go to Main.
Go to Main.
And make a right.
He refuses to look up maps on the internet before we go on tour because he's old-fashioned.
Thank you very much.
He thinks it would cost too much, but it's free. Oh, I don't have time. He parties more than I do. Bob is having fun with all his rich millionaire friends, drinking white wine practically every night that he's not working, so. And I don't think it would take that long. Plus, all the time we spend driving around lost.
The problem is time. Like tomorrow, you've got 3 shows in 3 different schools, 3 different directions. And you could spend half your life just going on the internet and trying to find this direction, that direction. And I find that I know what town it's in. I just go to the town, pull over to a gas station and ask. And usually they'll tell you just where it is because the towns are small. And when the towns are small, it's not easy to get lost.
Well, we're not early now. We had all that time to kill, and now we're gonna be in a hurry. Now we've got half an hour before our show.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm here to shoot some arrows.
Oh!
Oh!
Archery.
Yes, it is. Thanks for letting me work a little later.
Oh, not a problem.
Do you know what happened?
No, I don't.
I was told by the other principal how to get here, which is totally wrong. Then I stopped at another place and told by somebody else, totally wrong. And I finally saw this nice young lady and she told me exactly.
Very good.
So we got here.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
So now you need to set up.
Right. Okay, great. I need a microphone and a table.
Having a proper dressing room. But sometimes you just gotta make do.
a gentleman here that is an archery champion. He's performed in 58 countries. He's been on TV at most of the major television stations, and we're really lucky to have him. He's also in the Archery Hall of Fame. His name is Bob Mark, and his acrobatic contortionist partner, Mayana. You want to welcome him with a big hand of applause.
Now this next shot we're going to do for you, I used to do this shot in a theater in Paris, France called the Olympia Theater. And every time I do this shot, the French people would yell out, La couronne de la mode. Do you speak French? You don't. What do they teach you in this school? Okay, I'm going to translate that for you. La couronne de la mort means the crown of death. Mayana, let's go for two. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you've been a great audience. Thank you very much. And God bless you all.
What you've seen is mainly the theatrical part of, shall we say, myself and my show. But there's another side, which is the hunting side. I mean, I do a lot of bow hunting. Actually, I've hunted on 6 different continents, and I've been to Africa 7 times. And for me, hunting is it's a great spiritual satisfaction and gratification because I'm able to share nature, not just with the animal that I'm hunting, but the environment. I become part of the bigger picture, and that's really what I get out of hunting. It's a form of meditation, and it's great. Bow hunting is a great passion of mine. It's one of my greatest passions. And the stage. I mean, I have 2 major passions with one sport, archery. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, if you want to look through this, this is my hunting album. This has got a few critters that I managed to shoot. That's my moose.
That's tight. These are all bow hunting?
Yeah. Strictly bow hunting. That's all I ever do. Hunting is going out and stalking and pitting your skill against the instinct of the animal, and then actually making a shot and making a kill. When I'm on stage with my partner, I have to absolutely avoid hitting my partner. When I hunt, I shoot to kill. When I shoot on stage, I shoot to miss. It's a paradox. A lot of people have asked me, well, what are you thinking of when you shoot your arrows? And it's kind of a Zen thing. I've been shooting a bow for such a great period of time, I mean over 45 years now, that it becomes an automatic action. Therefore, when I'm up there shooting, I'm not thinking of anything. I'm just allowing my psyche and my body to do what it feels comfortable and normal to do, which is shoot a bow and arrow. And nothing comes into my mind, nothing, which is good. Because if something came into my mind, I might think, oh my God, there's a human being at the end of that balloon, or what will I be doing later after the show? And that takes away from this intense concentration. So by having my mind open, I'm merely focused on that one shot. And in my mind, there's no other shot that happened before that, and there's no shot that's gonna happen after that. It's just this one shot, one at a time. And that's the answer. The answer is to make each shot your first shot. And just be totally engrossed in that shot, so nothing else matters. And in my mind, there's no concept that I could ever miss, or that the arrow would go anywhere else except exactly where I'm concentrating. So it's definitely a Zen thing, that you're an extension of yourself. That arrow is an extension of you, and it's going exactly where you want it to go. And in essence, you're transporting your own being to the target, so you're drawing the arrow into where you want to send it. It becomes one and the same. I know that my partners on stage are safer having arrows shot at them than they are driving a car. Because I have never, ever had an accident. Never even nicked a girl with an arrow. And why? Because I am 100% sure of what I do. Even if I was 90% sure or 99% sure, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take a chance. Whatever one does in life, you have to have confidence in what you're doing. And at times that's rather difficult to obtain, confidence. We're all born with a little bit of self-doubt. We all challenge ourselves and question ourselves from time to time. In the beginning, when I was a tournament champion, I had my doubts, but I built up my own confidence. And it's like doing something over and over again. If you do it 10 times in a row, your subconscious goes, oh, that's cool. I did it 10 times in a row. And you have a certain amount of confidence. But if you do it 100 times in a row, you have 10 times that much more confidence. And if you do it 1,000 times in a row, you have 100 times that much confidence. Now, when you continue to do it, and that arrow continues to go exactly where you want it to, after a while, you just automatically know, without consciously or even subconsciously thinking about it, that the arrow will go there. And then it becomes an automatic reaction. And if a person could apply that same principle to everyday life, their confidence level would raise so high. I've always had an angel on my shoulder. And, you know, I'm always looked after. I mean, so many times I could have been killed in different adventures I've had, you know. And it's nice. It's nice to think deep. Just sit back against a tree or lie down on the ground, look up at the stars, and just contemplate how far away they are. And how small we are as human beings compared to the massive universe, you know, and the great expanses. And knowing that some of those stars are 1,000 light years away, and they could have ceased to exist 10,000 years ago. And we still see the light from them, you know. It's amazing. It's nice. It's nice to think deep every once in a while, but not all the time.
I think you'll be able. Okay. All right, got the instructions. We're ready to roll. What I really like to do, though, is spread the archery word, so to speak. There's so many problems that people have nowadays. Life becomes more complicated as we become more sophisticated. And with that complication comes escape. And when I'm able to preach archery to the kids, it's so great because they can take up a nice sport, they can hunt, they can even go bow fishing, tournament shooting. You know, I mean, it's a high for me to get on stage and shoot my arrows and to get on the mic and share my knowledge. And whether it's a kid or an adult, everybody is interested. They're all listening, and they all walk away more knowledgeable. So I'm leaving something behind. I'm touching people mentally and spiritually. So it makes my life worthwhile.
And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I just hope I can keep shooting straight for the rest of my life.
Thank you so much, and God bless you all.